Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in City Skylines 2 playing our city of Walden. And in between parts, I did just do a little bit of extra detailing here, so this looks a little bit nicer. We've got some boats that are, pretending to be driving around and sailing around this area. I just did a little bit of extra tree work and some rock work, added some more palm trees throughout, but I think this area is looking really nice. I do want to go ahead and add one additional thing to this area, which is the Pop Star Mansion. Earth Trojan had reminded me in the comments that this needs to be put in here. It's right here. It's 2% or +2 well-being within 500 meters. And I've looked at this whole area of Citizens Coast for a few minutes now, and I think the perfect place for it would be right here along Claiborne Lane. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place it as far back from the road as I can. But that way, this pop star is staring at the ocean. If I go, or excuse me, the bay, scoot it up to here, that's as far back as it can go. All these trees will eventually upgrade and get a little bit larger. That'll be great. Now we've got a pop star's mansion right there in the new area of Citizens Coast along the water. I don't think we have any of these other guys. Theater Actor Mansion, Rock Musicians Mansion, Extreme Athletes Villa. So I think what we'll do is as we unlock mansions, we're actually going to come in here and remove these houses and place down the mansions, but we've got to unlock them first. So we have the Pop Musicians Mansion. That looks pretty decent right here. And as we can continue to get more, we'll start placing them along the water's edge here. For today, though, the focus is going to be Citizens Coast. I want to make this into like the little small town shopping area that is near everybody living in Citizens Coast, kind of like a little destination here. Now, the first thing I want to do before we go in and we build out any buildings is I want to work on the trams for this section because we already have a tram line that ends here. It currently runs from Blackwood Pier. I think there's 3 stops. We've got Blackwood Pier right here. It then moves along the coastline and comes over here into Emerald Pier, which is pretty close to our ferry and bus terminal here, as well as 2 different subway stations. And then it heads over here and stops in Anchor Ward. We've got an option here. If I keep it divided, I could put the trams in the center. The only downside here is it would reduce this down to a 1-lane road on either side. If we leave it non-divided, the trams have to travel along the same side as one of the lanes of traffic. Now, there's not going to be a ton of trams, so I don't know if that's going to be a huge issue. The only issue is that when you have a stop, what you end up having is the stops on either side, whereas if you have this here, the stop is in the middle. The one challenge having the stop in the middle, though, is that it means that wherever we do have stops, I'm going to need ways for people to access those stops. We'll actually upgrade this road so that it doesn't have the divided median. Let's switch back over to here. Let's upgrade all of this. Let's change this divided median road into a regular 4-lane road all the way through. I think all of this here, up until here, can be the tram. Great. And then right here, I'm actually going to, I think, cut the tram off of the main avenue and bring it over to this road. So it's right next to this train station. Let's do a complex curve. Let's send the tram kind of straight on out from here, curve it down to the center here, and let it line up straight, connect it right on into here. But then I think this might cut through some of this. Like, what if the tram was to curve and go like this? Also, I'm noticing there's this weird little extra one-way moment right here, this little median. I don't hate it for what it is. Like, that actually kind of looks kind of nice. How do I make that happen on all of the different edges we have here? I don't know. I'm debating if this actually comes over and curves and comes down this way and connects in here. What does the tram junction, or actually the tram loop roundabout, look like? If I was to, it connects literally perfectly here. It connects perfectly. What if we get rid of this and we put the tram junction right here on this corner? Right? That's the purpose of this little road here, is to connect to this tram junction. We could then have like a path or something go along this edge to connect the people over to here. Hold on, we're onto something. Just like so. Technically, that is now all connected. Then we upgrade this road so that it has trams on it, right? And then we send the trams over this way. This one here is facing the wrong way, just like that. There we go. Then this becomes the double. That does its own little turnaround. This then needs to really connect into here. I kind of think it could be neat to have it go diagonal. But I also think it could just make more sense to go like this. We curve it off of here, right? Connect to here, curve it down, like so. And then we curve it in, just like that. Because now your tram comes over. There could be just some, little trees or detailing here, but we've basically still preserved this block for zoning, which I think is valuable. And then if we were to grab the tram stop or the tram line, it would come all the way over and at least for now stop right here. It's going to come up this way. I think I also want a stop here in front of this. Could we do we could do the parallel, have the tram cross right here. And I want to place it so it's perfectly center. So when you're driving up this road, you see this tram terminal here. That is some funky colors we've got there. Okay. But that's also kind of like right in front of this building. And then you've got both together. Ideally, they would be perfectly lined up and straight. And I kind of think I want to do that. Then I think we got to adjust the tram line so that instead of it going down this road, the tram line is now going to go from here straight over to here and curve in. And it's going to go from here straight over to here and actually come straight on through and connect up and into here like so. Get rid of this. Actually, we're going to rebuild this whole connection here. I think it's just going to make it a lot nicer. If I was just to come straight from here over to here and we were to connect down and into here, you've got this long intersection, but then the tram comes off the main road. I think I like that a lot more. Get rid of the trams here. It comes on through, it stops there, and then it winds its way over here to stop here as well. I mean, I was going to say, let's figure out where all these stops are, but I think we've kind of solved it, no? Because like this is going to connect into here. This will connect into this one. You have one here. And then for now, we can go ahead and connect it here. No one's really going to take this, but then again, I don't know if they might. You might have people living here that prefer this stop. So we'll leave it for now. Now I've got to do is figure out how to build out this kind of like main street section that we're going to have here. I think what I want to do is maybe kind of steal from this aesthetic that we have over here. These buildings here are both NA low density waterfront businesses. This is EU waterfront. These guys are some custom buildings or some unique buildings. But I think if we took that waterfront idea and we applied it over here, that could look really nice. Cinevista. This is a cinema. Ooh, I like the idea of the Cinevista because then this here also makes sense. This can all be trees and decorated nicely. Okay, we're definitely placing the Cinevista. Maybe we start with the unique buildings and then we go from there. Sporting goods complex. And then we have all these guys here. I don't necessarily want any of these, although a little Church Inn and Restaurant, the Church Inn and Bistro, the Heath Pub and Terrace, like some of these buildings could be kind of nice in this area. Like if you had the Heath Pub and Terrace right on this corner, it's an institution. It's along this walkable path here. I do want to make sure I face some buildings along the walkable path as well as on the avenue. So those are going to be like our two primary spaces we're focused on, just because that's going to make the most sense to me. And I want to see a lot of use there. I don't think I actually have... we have the UK Executive Mansion. Oh, the UK Executive Mansion must be placed over here as well. This mansion has a fence around it. So I think this mansion shouldn't be right next door, but it could go It honestly could go right here. Right? Just right there along that edge. And I think if we do that, we actually get rid of the little bit of terrain surface paint we have in here. If I go here and I just reduce the size a bit, and we just erase it around the front there, there's the UK's executive mansion. Faces out over the water near the pier. Great. All right, we've got 2 mansions placed in here. Looks pretty good. I am going to just slap down 1 oak tree, 2 oak trees, 3 oak trees. 3 oak trees. Okay, great. Back to here. We've got the Heath Pub and Terrace. There's also the Majestic. This is also a cinema style building. If I just place it to look at it, what do we see? I don't like that as much. I like the Cinevista a little bit more. So we're going to get rid of that. All right. I guess with that in place, let's go ahead and figure out, I guess we have to figure out services before we can build the downtown, no? Like, I think that's probably important. Citizens Coast is able to access the Bidley Regional Cemetery. It's able to access Morgan's Hospital, which is over here. It should also be able to access Bidley Medical Clinic. It should also be able to access Toll General Hospital. I think that would be absolutely servicing Citizens Coast as well. That would just make sense to me. But it doesn't have any fire, it doesn't have any police, it doesn't have any of that. So I think I want to add those services in. It also doesn't have any schools. So I think we're good on the healthcare, death care front. Let's figure out schools. How many people live in Citizens Coast right now? Only 400 people. So there's not a whole ton of folks living over here. I say all this and we're literally having a fire right now in this area. I think someone will come and help them, but that person is not going to be me. Fire engine has been dispatched. It's coming all the way from Grove Street Park, though. There is a chance this fire engine is not going to make it in time. This fire is spreading, y'all. We're going to lose all of Citizens Coast if you don't speed it up. Well, 1 building has already been destroyed. We've got some trees on fire. For now, I can't delete it. If I just do anarchy and then delete, does that get rid of the fire for me? Okay, great. And then I guess we do need to add a building back here. So let's grab this one right here. We're just going to use that with picker. Grab this building. And we're going to place this right here on the corner. Call it a day. Great. All right. We need to add our services in. Let's start with fire just so that we don't have to deal with that again. I think they could be a part of the downtown. They can just be small. We could do this little guy here. Again, I want to make sure we preserve the path here, Honeybrook Street, as a main kind of like thoroughfare corridor for residents and businesses. We place it on one of these corners. If we do, I would place it maybe along this corner so it's facing 2 different roads. And we're going to just tack that right on into Citizens Coast. Same thing needs to happen with our police station. We'll place it right over here. It's along the road with the tram track, but that's okay. Then we've got our police and fire covered. Boom, done. Let's actually go over and do our post office next. I don't want the historical because it's so large, but we could do the... Didn't I download one? The old post office. This building, I think, is just beautiful. And I could see this building. Ooh, it can't fit there. I wish it could, though. It could fit right in here. It would be along that main strip, but if we do it here instead, we could put buildings here along this side. I'm going to let this operate in a few districts. It'll operate in Citizens Coast, in Bidley, and in Overbrook. They already have their own. That's okay. But that way we're spreading out the love of this post office. I also just think this is a cool building to have you walk by when you're here in terms of like the downtown little streets. So that's pretty nice. That covers all of those. We need education next. I don't think we need anything crazy. The UK Urban Primary School, I think, could be a pretty addition to this area, especially just because we've got a bunch of people living here. You can kind of pretend this is like a little private school in this area. And I could see it maybe focused around this road. It's right off of Kent Street. It's near the tram. Or maybe you have it down this way off of this road. It's only going to operate here in Citizens Coast. You have the Japanese high school, a little bit too large for me, although I do like the idea that it would have, a big sports field, etc. They've got the room in this district. Let's actually tack this onto Citizens Coast, and we'll allow people from Overbrook to attend this high school as well. And maybe Bidley. It's going to serve this whole little section here. Do you guys have access to a high school here in Morgan's Gate? You guys go to Overbrook Prep High School, which is this guy here, which is getting a little bit full. So having this other high school is valuable. How is your elementary school? Getting a little bit full, but this is going to be a private school for this area. Let's just pick a person. Who's the first person we see walking around? These people. You're staying at a hotel, though. Biff Hollis Private School. I guess that's going to be the name. This is going to be Biff Hollis Private School. And we're going to name it B. Hollis. So if you go over to B. Hollis, that's where people of Citizens Coast educate their kids. They pay a premium. And then we've got this guy here, the secondary school, which is great. What are the expansions? Indoor sports building. Ooh, absolutely. What does that do? Just increases student capacity. Okay. And then we have a technology wing, which also increases student capacity. I don't like that it messes up those fields, though. I like seeing the fields themselves. I would like to maybe consider putting down a large field early on. If we wait too long to do it, it will never have the space it needs. And that's something we got to be mindful of. Maybe we actually have a soccer field kind of off of this road here. Soccer field for the community. It's a weird shaped block. We can figure out how that all interplays together. Or this could go maybe over here as a way to transition into the other business area. Buildings here, buildings all through here. This could be nice, because then, especially if you were to take this and we were just to expand this at the 180 straight on out from here, this all feels like it's a sports complex. Trees along here, better yet, not even trees. Grab these paths. Let's do a large path. Come right off of here. Connect along the side of this building. Connect right off of here. Connect all that up and in. That's great. And then that tells me exactly where this path needs to go. And cut it straight off there. There we go. Yeah. Because now we've got this complex in here. What I can easily do is just slap down a line of trees that fills this area in nicely. Nothing else that needs to happen here. And now we've got like a little court there. Okay, that covers all like the big things. The things that we got to make sure we leave room for early on. The interior design studio. I really want to have this building in here. And I almost wonder if we move some things around here. Let's move this fire station, place the interior design studio right on the edge there, and then you have the fire station next door to it. I think that's a nice way to ground this area, and it just looks really nice. They produce media from software. No one's currently working there. Eventually someone will. There we go. Beautiful. Now we got to fill out the zoning. I really do like the waterfront buildings. I think at least along Foggy Street, I want to place them myself. I think that's going to look the nicest. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide area here that I want to place some kind of building here. Unfortunately, though, there aren't any 6 wide office buildings. Are there any 5 wide? There's a lot of 5 wide. Let's come down here. Let's look at this level 5. NA commercial. I want it to be along the middle road here. So if I go down here and then scoot up, we have a 5 wide width. It's a unique shape. Not exactly what I was looking for. Let's place this guy. Ooh, let's place this guy right here. That kind of works out perfectly. I think if we change some of the surfaces, that could work out really well. So we have that building there along that edge. If I was to grab one of these, this is a corner building. What does that look like? It's a little bit more commercial than I was hoping. Like kind of bland, generic commercial. But at the same token, I could see that in here. Maybe actually, this building needs to go over here on this corner, but I need to not snap it to the road because I'm going to force it to line up with this corner instead. Just like so. Oh yeah, that goes exactly there. It's a level 1. We definitely need more commercial. We also need office in here. What other decent waterfront-esque buildings do we have? These are all going to be that style. This has got more kind of like front seating here, which is nice. I would love stuff like this along this walkway. There we go. Yeah, and we've got like restaurants and things. It's like a fancy little spot. You can go, you relax, you hang out. Nice, all these nice little restaurants for the people living in this area. This definitely needs one of these kind of passage parks. This one doesn't fit perfectly in here, but if we turn off Snap to, I can just place it by hand. It fills in that whole area really nicely. We've got a nice little furniture store, which kind of looks like a restaurant, if you ask me. And then over here, we have a restaurant. Okay, I'll take the restaurant. So these are like the fancy restaurants for the people living here. I think let's keep going with this idea. This is working out. I think maybe what we need to do is we need to just let some zoning take place and let's see what we get. I could see doing some USA Northeast low density here. I could see that being useful if we do like a 2 there and then we also do a 3 here. Maybe we do these along kind of these sides because this makes a little bit more sense being next to these buildings. And then we do this one here. That way we get a few of those buildings here. That'll look nice. Then if we were to do some low density, maybe offices, we could look into doing some of these southwest offices. Let's just get a sense of what they look like in game. If we go to southwest, clear all these out, just do level 1s, get rid of the word waterfront. You've got these smaller little buildings here. Little bland. Let me get the sun on our side here. Little bland, although that is not too terrible. This one's actually not bad at all. The 2 2s for this are really decent offices, if I'm going to be honest. They've got some parking, but like this 2 2 right here is a great little office building. Especially if we like just snuck that here in on the side there. I like that a lot. You come over here, you get these buildings. These all have a lot of parking around them. But again, we are going to want offices in this area because people do work over here and live over here full time. If I turned off Snap to Road, I could sneak this in right there. Now, technically, this is a pedestrian road, though, so that's not going to work because you can't drive to it if I place it that way. What if this one just went right here? And you had the entrance by the roundabout, or better yet, this one could go right here. That way the entrance is a little bit tucked in. This building could be nice in here, if I'm being honest. That could look pretty good. If I stuck it to the road, it would fit right there. And you've got some offices you can walk into. We have this building here. That's a great building. That's a great building. This is really nice. 3x2. This is a 2x2, and this is a 2x2. I mean, together right here, that is a very nice little intro corridor, and then you've got a little bit of a setback here. I might come in and lock some of these buildings as we do them. I mean, let's be real. You do that. You then anarchy in a tree right here. And there's the entrance to this section. That's great. I really like this mistake. I don't know how I did it. And I probably, frankly, need to delete it because it's, let's be real, watch it cause issues. But I'm not mad about it. This has anarchy on, so this isn't going to work because if anarchy was off, there would be no way that would fit there. But already, this is a pretty strong little entrance. I do think this whole area is going to need trees. If I was to do like wild bushes, they're small, but they could function as trees. The lindens also look really nice here too. And you do them on both sides of this stretch. Yeah, okay. This is already shaping up really great. I like this. It's supposed to be a small town, and I think we're getting that vibe. Now, the rest of this street, I want this to be shopping focused, but I do think the mixed-use buildings are far prettier than I give them credit for. Like, this building can go right here. This is a little bit larger, but I could see that going right there and looking really nice. I don't know if I necessarily want these like super modern buildings just yet. This one has got a little bit more of like a modern touch to it. It's definitely a corner piece. So that's going to go right there. And then we have these mixed use that are definitely the more modern builds for sure. Now, do I have more than one of these? I have this one left and I have right. Okay. What if left and right were together? They were across the street from the cinema. Instead of it having this blue color, what if that blue was more of like a white color? We kind of bring back that light blue color, but we do it like that. Copy this, paste it here, right? And we have this like taller building right along there. Okay, it feels like a tiny town. I'm really loving this. Really loving this. Okay, if we wanted... Oh, well, we already have a parking lot right there. That doesn't make any sense. We could sneak a little parking lot in here, too, right? Behind that larger building. And honestly, with the way this is set up, I kind of just think you take this surface and we just expand this all the way down here, almost like it's a driveway into these bays here. Right in the middle there, you're going to get a tree or two. You've got this open section. Should this get a small park? Like, is there one that would just kind of like stretch back and fit in here? I don't know if there is. This is a weird shape to try to fill. This would work in here. But I kind of want something that just goes straight back. I mean, I don't think we're going to have that. Not unless we build something custom. I don't want to do that per se. I would love to fit this small plaza in here, though. This absolutely could work in here. Imagine having like the plaza along this walkway, too, and then more buildings behind it. Like, that could work out really well. Now, right here, I think we need to do some small residential buildings throughout. Maybe we'll come back and do that in a moment. Let's finish placing these down first, and then we'll figure out what those look like. But like this here, you could have another little road there. It's got those little front windows. I might even place a second one of those there. It's a nice little storefront. And there's also these, which this, although big, is a great building. Like, I almost wish there was room for this to go in here somewhere. Like, what if there was an additional little alleyway and it can still be this like pedestrian road that would go like right here? I think it was 3 deep. Watch it be 4. It was 4. Okay, hold on. Get rid of this section of Lilac Street. We're going to replace this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This can connect here. Then this could go right here. I mean, that's just a nice building to have there on the corner. It's either going to be that one or we do this one. But I think they're basically the same. They just face different directions. Right and left. Yeah, so that's the right. And then this is the left. I like the right because this bump out is facing this business here, which I think looks a little bit nicer. Did we ever get the little corner building, the public market? I don't actually think the public market's in here because we did residential, not commercial. So I think we do need the public market somewhere. That's not the public market I thought it was going to be. And the public market is one of those spots where like you go and you get a drink at the public market. That's what the whole idea of this is. So I could see this being maybe right there along that corner. Okay. Are there southwest commercial buildings we want to try out here? There are some with parking lots. Like this here is a very cool looking building. It could go, ooh, actually, this could fit right here along this area. Maybe we even give it a little bit of space. And like that's one of the only other buildings over here. I don't hate that. We're getting there. It's nowhere near done. My one concern though is that if I let it go too far, we're going to end up getting too many tall buildings. And I want to make sure I don't let that happen. Do I have any actual offices? We do have 1, 2, 3 office, 4 offices. There's no more demand for office. There is still demand for commercial. And even with all this, our unemployment has gone up to 9.2. So I think at this point, we exclusively need to build commercial buildings. I do want some buildings along this edge here. Unfortunately, though, I could just anarchy that in there and that whole thing would be complex. That would look a little wild, but it could work. I think that's pretty good. I don't want to get too reckless here and then end up overdoing it. Let's actually, because we're now looking at everything here, I think we definitely need some gas stations in and around this area. There could be a gas station maybe right here on the corner. Or maybe right here as you come into this area, there's a gas station there. And then there could be another gas station, I think, like over here. That's kind of just as you exit this area. I'm going to have it on this road, I think. So you pull in that way. And then there would be a gas station kind of tucked away here for the residents of this area. And I think we could have that gas station like maybe right over here. Is there a really small 2x2? Yeah, just a little corner gas station there as well. Lots of surface work is needed. Lots of little tiny tree detailing and things. But I think in terms of the height, it's staying relatively small. It makes sense for that area. And it just looks like it's this big complex of buildings that are kind of popping up in a small town. With that, I think we should have a reason for all those popping up, and I would love to do a college or a university. Ooh, we do have some demand for a university. The modern university could fit over here. We do have we've got these two. Or you know what? Hold on. What if we came in here and we unlocked, yes, the Geological Research Center? Go in here, grab this. What if this building was right here? Hold on. That would mean moving the small police station. It could go back down here. I wasn't going to place it down here, but I almost feel like why not? We place it right there. There's your police station. I could even move it right here to this corner. That way they're kind of lining up together. If I was just to picker this and move this down here, it fits perfectly. It literally fits perfectly. Put that there. That's great. Because then this building can go right here. It's near the tram stop. It has 64 employees. It performs geological research and field studies, helps discover larger underground deposits of ore and oil. It's going to upgrade a ton of things. I think before we go further with that, I need to pause this and I need to make sure all these buildings don't upgrade. Okay, so I went through, I fixed all the surfaces, and I added in a little bit of tree work. I purposely tried to leave some areas open. So like you'll notice here, I only added 1 tree instead of adding a bunch. I was just trying to be gentle with it so that it still feels, it feels like a little tiny town. This is great. You don't understand. I worked on this originally. I hated it. I had to delete the whole thing, and now I'm starting over. And this turned out way better than the first attempt. All right. I do think, even though you can park along the roads here, I do think I want to have some kind of multi-tiered parking structure over here because you've got these 2 apartment buildings. So let's see. I think I want them... I think I want a path behind it instead of a road. So if I was to go here and grab this path and we were to stick it to the side of the apartment buildings, we could send it straight down and through the center here, right? So it kind of wraps around. We can do a few trees along either side there. That would work fine. Then I'm going to send this out straight, and we're going to then curve it so that it connects into here. right? So then that kind of caps off that area. The reason for all of this, though, is then we can place a parking garage right next door, right there, right? And that's going to service this school area here. But it also just helps push that height a little bit further back. And then I think what we can do to make it look like there's a road here, even though there's not going to be, we expand this pathway all the way around the building. So then it kind of functions like a road. In this section, I'm just going to do a little smattering of trees, chestnuts, actually quite dense set of trees. I don't really mind it though. And I honestly think that I'm going to save this area here. We got to figure out what's going there. I honestly think behind this geological building here, this could also be another just like lick of trees here, kind of going along this whole edge. Maybe what we do, let's reduce this even further down to 15, but increase the size. Grab these. We'll do 3 different sizes of these. And maybe I just go a little bit larger so that I can just do like a quick little swipe like that. It's trees, but it's not nearly as many as we've done in the past. Kind of gives us our transitional area there. Okay, I like that. I like that. I don't know what's going to happen in this weird section over here. We got to work on those. And then I think the last real area we got to finish out today is this section here. So we've already got our primary school. And I'm actually, the longer I look at this school, I think I need to move it. I don't like you have to cross over this 4-lane road to reach that school. And I almost wonder if it makes more sense for the school to be moved right down here along this road. Maybe not along Citizens Way, but along Honeybrook Street, which is, that's the residential road. So, it would be moved here along Citizens Way. It's across from the police station, but that way it's just tucked in a little bit nicer of an area. Right here, I think this section here is going to be some kind of park. That means these 2 areas need to be filled out with something. And the question is, what? All right, so now these 3 blocks have their little houses in them. They're looking pretty nice. I don't want to do anything over here yet. This is, although technically part of Citizens Coast, I don't exactly know what's going to happen here yet, so we're going to leave that be. It might even just be more of this terraced housing, if I'm being honest with you. I think right here we just need to figure out what the park looks like. There we go. I think that looks pretty nice. So now we've got this little town in here. I guess the last step would be ensuring we've got enough bus coverage. If we go in here and we look at our different bus lanes, go here, go here. All right, so we've got a green bus lane here. Comes down here. All the buses kind of stop here at this guy. They don't go any further than that. We have this cream line that goes over here and stops here. But then there's no buses in this area. I think I'd want to take this cream line. Once it stops here, it's going to cross back over on itself. And it's going to continue down this way. So I'm not going to do a lot over here in the marina area, but instead I want to take this. You'll stop here. You'll come over here. It's going to do a stop maybe right up here by the post office. It'll then turn down the main street here and do a stop over here near this edge. Come down this road. It's going to come down here and it's going to stop here by the marina. Then it's going to turn around and it's going to head back up this way. It'll stop right over here in front of that building. Come down this way, stop right over here in front of this building and head right back over. And then we don't even need to create a new line for this because it stops here. And then this ride continues over this way, continues over this way, continues down this way, goes here, and then moves itself back up and over and comes over just like this. Beautiful. It doesn't actually get over to the train station, and I do wonder, does that make sense to have another? But then it would just be kind of duplicative of what's going on with these guys. However, right now, if you get off of this tram, you would have to come down over here to get to the bus to then take that over to here. Whereas if there was a additional bus stop right up here, it's a one-way though. It's a one-way. There could be a bus stop right here. and then there's another one right here. When it's coming this way, it stops here. Hold on. This needs to move. Hold on. This bus stop can't be here because of the one-way setup. Because of the one-way setup, this might be a strange bus stop in that this is going to come over here and loop here and then go back around. But then on its way back, it's also going to loop there. So it's going to touch that both times. Once going kind of back to the marina and then once coming back up. Is the one going back to the marina even necessary? I think you just take it when it's coming back this direction and it just does this extra one-off stop in front of the train line. I think that works well. All right, guys, I think that's where we're going to end this part here. A quick shout out to my channel members. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, click the link in the description below to unlock custom emojis, loyalty badges, early access to videos, save game files, members-only content, merchandise discounts, and more. And until next time, leave your questions, comments, and feedback down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Lorelai, follow your dad out. I can't have your tippy taps. I can't edit them out.